Hello, friends. Welcome back to the podcast. You are joining me from the St. Regis in Atlanta, which is a fucking vibe. Hence the backdrop if you are watching the video version of this. Anyway, today's episode I'm going to leave it more of like a juicy nugget kind of episode. And then, I might drop another one for this week as well because I really want to give you guys some business updates. But I had the download to talk about this topic on the podcast as well. Just an FYI. Also, tonight when this is live, so you will have already missed it, I'm doing Instagram live on how to create an offering that turns you on. So the recording will be on my Instagram. So if you would like to watch that as well, then I would obviously recommend that. Okay, I want to talk to you guys about how to manifest the business of your dreams. Firstly, I want to preface that when I say business, I also mean life. Like your business is part of you. It is part of your life. It is part of your legacy. It is part of your purpose. And for a lot of us, we want to have our own businesses because we want to be living a life that has freedom. We want to feel like we are in control of what we are doing day to day. We want to feel like we are our own bosses. We want to feel when we want to choose and pick when we want to work, all that kind of stuff. And we want to feel like we can do more and be more for ourselves. So when I'm talking about like how do I manifest the business of my dreams, that is encompassing also the life of your dreams when it comes to the amount of money, when it comes to the love, the relationship that you want, the friendships that you want, the house that you want to live in, like the way that you want to interact with your children, like where you want to stay, how you want to fly around the world, the way that you want to be able to give back, the way that you want, like all of those things. And let's also firstly preface that manifesting the business of your dreams does not mean that you necessarily want to fly private around the world. You might not want that life, and that's okay. You might want a life where you have a very simple life living by the beach. Like that's also a fucking vibe. Sometimes I wish that that's what I want. And I have like polar opposites where I want that and I also want to like fly private. So my whole thing is like I want to live simply and lavishly, like I want things to be simple and easy. But I also in that simple and easy, I want to like not fly commercial. I want to fly private. But maybe I will fly commercial. Like, I don't fucking know because sometimes and this is what you guys are going to hear about in the next episode. I've experienced those things that I've wanted and then I've realized, I actually don't want this, which is, it might seem weird because like it's been a dream of mine to have a certain thing. But then sometimes when you achieve that dream, you need to achieve that dream to realize actually, like I've had a taste of this and it's great, but it actually doesn't suit me. Because a lot of our dreams, don't forget, they are made from like movies and what we've seen other people do. So we think I want fucking 5 assistants. And then when you do, you're like, I don't want this, right? And that's okay. Sometimes we need to actually achieve those manifestations to then realize our real manifestations and the real things that light our soul on fire and are in alignment for us. So I don't have a module in my Badass Bitches course, which is my feminine business coaching program. I don't actually have a module on manifesting your dream business. So I'm making one. So if you're joining this round of BABA, or if you haven't already joined, here's a reason, another reason to join. I am making a whole module in there and you guys can join live to ask all of your questions on how to manifest the business of your dreams. Because that is obviously a key component in all of this and all of the tools and techniques and X, Y, and Z that I do every day, like multiple times a week, things that I do when I'm feeling like I'm in a slump, all those manifesting techniques that I bring into my business, I'm putting a whole module into that. But I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit today about like manifesting the business of your dreams because my business has evolved a lot. Like I technically tried to run a business like a million times. Like even when I was in school, I started businesses and they didn't work. And it's really important that you as a person, I've talked about this recently, it's really important that you as a person have the ambition and have the drive and the perseverance to want to keep showing up in your business or in your life, even when things are failing. So I've always wanted to have my own business. So even when previous businesses, quote unquote, failed, I didn't feel like I was failing. It didn't stop me. It didn't stop me because I knew what I wanted. And one of the most important things with manifestation is that law of action, which a lot of us forget. So a lot of us focus on the journaling and the vibes and the meditation, and that's all fucking fabulous. And you need to also make sure that you're taking action to achieve the business that you want to get and therefore the life that you want to get. So I started my food blog like fucking a million years ago. And that was running for like 2 or 3 years before I started making any money really. And then I did my coaching certification and la la la, and I was working for somebody else. And long story short, in like middle 2018 is when I started to actually make money. And I don't mean make money like make 10 grand a month. I mean make money like make $400 every 2 weeks kind of thing. But again, a lot of us are comparing ourselves now these days to coaches online because in the last, I'm going to say 3 years really, and even let's say 2 years, in my, maybe it's because I'm more aware of it. I don't know. But in my opinion, the coaching industry has absolutely boomed. So a lot of people are comparing themselves and saying, "Oh my God, I'm not making 100K a month, and I've started I've been in business for 2 years, or I'm only making $2,000 a month, and I'm running my business for 6 months. Like, why is anything working?" And I'm like, "Why is anything working? It takes fucking time." The idea that you can go from like 0 to 10K a month, like that's not impossible by any means, but let's also make sure that we're using logic in this and being reasonable with ourselves and remembering that it takes time to build know, like, and trust with your customers and therefore get them to buy. You don't want to be scamming them into something and they, oh yeah, great, you make 10K, every month for a year, let's say, but then your business fails 2 years in because everyone realizes that you're just full of shit. Like that's not the kind of game that we're playing, and I'm pretty sure you guys are on the same page as me. Anyway, so when it comes to really manifesting the business of your dreams, it's important that you are embodying the energetics for sure. And it's important though that you are showing up. So from day dot, the thing that I have done consistently is that law of action where I have consistently showed up in my business. And that is something that you guys need to understand is so fucking important for running a business and for creating a successful business. Like consistency is everything. Showing up is absolutely fucking everything, and taking that action. Right. Once I started actually having money then to also spend, like, so I saved a lot in the beginning of my business. And then I hired my first coach and I paid her $10,000 and drained my bank account. And it was a good decision. Like, she was kind of shit, but my intuition actually told me that. But she kind of forced you into it. So that was fine. Learned that one. And I'm glad that I did it though, because it actually made me show up even more in my business because it was like, right, I spent this fucking money. Let's go. Like, let's fucking go. I spent this 10 grand. I have to make it back. So I did make it back within like 2 weeks. I think I made that 10K back in like about a week and a bit. I did make it back, and it wasn't actually really for her, really anything to do with her. She just was like, okay, you should make a group program. So then I made one. And that's when I made my feminist fuck mastermind, and I launched that. But of course, I was taking the action. Remember that a coach, I said this before to you guys in a recent episode, a coach doesn't make you successful. A coach can activate something in you. You have to take the action when it comes to business coaching, that is, right? When it comes to my trauma stuff, it's different. Like, I fucking do it. But when it comes to my business coaching, it's like you have to take the action. I can't do it for you. Anyway, so when I started making money, I then really was able to start to embody the energetics to a whole other level than I already had been. I had been embodying the energy of the kind of coach and the kind of businesswoman and the kind of life that I wanted to be living, even when I was making like $1,000 a month in my coaching business. So I was making sure that I was really showing up in the way that I wanted to show up as, and I was ensuring that I was in that energy. And I truly fucking was. I was in too much hustle energy for sure, but I truly was in the energy of like my highest self when I was in that stage of my business. So really important to note also with like manifesting your dream business is that you need to make sure that you're also showing up in a way that feels good for where you're at in your business. It's stupid to be like, if you're making $1,000 a month, be like, oh, Monica's at the St. Regis, so I have to be there too. No, like when I was making $1,000 a month, I was working out of my bedroom. I had flatmates. I had a great fucking view in Sydney. Right. But I wasn't wearing lavish clothing. I don't think I owned anything from Zimmerman. I bought my first designer outfit, which was a Zimmerman dress. I bought it at the beginning of 2019 when I was flying to New York to speak at an event that I'd been asked to speak at. And the dress was I think the dress was about $1,000. And it was like, oh my God, I've just spent $1,000 on myself and I've bought my first designer dress, if that makes sense. So anyway, point being is that you don't need to do that because somebody else is doing it on Instagram or because I'm doing it. You need to make sure that you're doing it in a way that feels good. It feels next level, but it's still reasonable for you and where you're at. Fast forward to when I was like making bank. That's when I was spending money on like flying first class, staying in nicer hotels, X, Y, and Z. But even still, in 2019, I wasn't staying at the St. Regis, right? Like when I was in Europe, I was staying in nice places for sure. They were cute, gorgeous, like a beautiful accommodation, but I wasn't being stupid with my money because that's also like a lot of people can be stupid with their money out of a comparison kind of situation of like, I have to do it for Instagram. I need to do it because so and so does it. I've actually been seeing so much of this in my clients lately. Not really lately, but like it's been like a common thing of them not realizing the subconscious like comparison that's happening on Instagram with looking at other people's lives that are in the same industry as them. And it's just so important to understand that you need to show up, like you need to be in that like energetic you need to make sure that you're embodying the energetics of where you want to be in your business, but you also want to make sure that you're doing it from a place that feels right for you and that's in alignment for you, not from where you think you should be based on other people in the industry, because that's actually like a lack of authenticity. And therefore that is out of alignment. That's misalignment, which isn't going to allow you to manifest the business that you want to be having. So now like fast forward to like okay 2020 and then 2021, I feel like that was just one big fucking blur. 2020, as a lot of you guys know, I was living in London, but a really really cool thing for me and what I wanted in my business was the flexibility and the freedom to be able to travel and do what I wanted to do. I needed and I knew that my soul needed change and that I thrive in different environments. I do thrive with change. I'm weird in that like I'm very like homebody, but then I really need change at the same time. Anyway, and I obviously lacked that with the lockdowns and everything in London in 2020. So I came back to that root need, that like core desire, that core need that I had for my ability to be happy as a human. And as you guys know, like that is the foundation of your business. And in order for me to be happy as a human, I needed the flexibility I needed the ability to travel and have a different environment. I really needed a change in my environment from the same old fucking house in London. So that's when I manifested flying to Tulum. And the reason why I say manifested it was because you weren't actually allowed to leave the country. But again, I committed to what I wanted and I knew what I wanted and I wasn't going to settle for anything less. So I left and I went to Tulum, and then you guys mostly know the story of then going to Colorado to ski for a month, whatever. And then I moved back to New York. And when I moved back to New York again, like the manifesting doesn't stop. I wanted my dream apartment for myself, but also for my business. And again, I wasn't going to let anything stop me. And a really common thing that people have these days without realizing is we are a very avoidant and lazy society where when anything becomes a little bit too hard, we like throw our hands up and we're like, fuck it. Or if you're really spiritual, sometimes when things become a little bit hard, we're like, oh, it's not meant to be. And I'm like, well, I'm really spiritual and that's a fucking load of bullshit because I want this apartment. And of course, it's going to be hard to get because I've got no SSN, which is like a tax file number, and I have no credit history. So of course, it's going to be fucking hard to get. It does not mean that it's not meant to be. You guys know the story about like getting my apartment, whatever. I think it's maybe no, I think it's actually just on my YouTube channel. There's like a tour, and then I did like a sit down and explain the whole process to you guys, because a lot of you were asking how the process is. Um, but again, like I got my visa so I could come back to New York. I was able to swap visas. I was able to not go to an embassy to get my visa because of all like the COVID things. And I found a way to do it because I knew what I needed in order for myself to succeed, but also for my business to succeed. So a lot of people, I feel like, have too much of a split headspace when it comes to business, where it's like they're either too focused on, the logical strategy side of it, or they're too focused on the woo woo side of it. And there needs to be a blend of both in order for you to feel like your business is kind of nailing every point, if that makes sense. And the reason why I say nailing every point is because you want to feel like your soul is being fulfilled and your desires are being met, but you also want to feel like you are grounded, safe, and secure in your business. And you need both. If you're just airy fairying around the fucking place, that shit isn't going to work at all. So, anyway, so basically, what was I going to say? Other key things that I've done to help manifest the business of my dreams is to make sure that I know the things that I need in order to be in my best energy for my business. And this can take a while to develop. And it also can be, it can be like the smallest, most specific things for you. It can be the biggest things like I need a vibe. And it could be the smallest, most specific things like I need 30 minutes of my own time in the morning, or I need to, I don't know, have the kids go to daycare for literally 15 minutes in the afternoon so that I have the ability to do an Instagram story in the car, for example, whatever the situation is. But that is your responsibility to figure it out. And a lot of people, they get overwhelmed with life and then they project that shit onto somebody else, and their like frustration and their exhaustion or their overwhelm onto somebody else, rather than you figuring out what you need in order to make it all work. Because we can make it all work, but we can't make it all work at one time. So you can do everything. You absolutely can do everything, but I do not in any way, shape, or form believe, because I can't do it, that you can do every single thing at one time. It is not possible. And you need, the more that you understand yourself and the more that you understand your business and exactly what you need to create the business that you want, to continue to create the business that you want, is like both of those things, because you've probably, whether you've got a business or whether you're creating more of what you already have, the better you know yourself and the better you know your needs and the more self-aware you are, the easier it is going to become. If you are not a good communicator, if you are not self-aware, and if you haven't like healed your shit so that your business is built on a strong foundation, it is going to become shit loads harder, right? So remember, when I'm saying strong foundation, you are the strong foundation. You are the strong foundation in making sure that you are in the right mindset, in the right energy, free of trauma, not projecting shit into your business, not projecting shit through your business onto other people, all that kind of stuff, making sure that you have the tools in order to set yourself up in the correct way so that you don't fuck yourself a year in. All those kind of things, right? A lot of us will learn from trial and error, and that's fine. For some of us, we want to make sure that we don't find those errors and we can avoid a lot of them, which is why we hire other people to make sure that we do it once, so we do it well. So your mindset on that and how much you value your time is kind of dependent on that situation. What else for manifesting your dream business would I say? You know what I also say as the last thing is that a lot of people, they get so caught up in really, really, really big vision things. Like, I want to write a book. I want to do a TED talk. Like, yes, vibe, here for that all. Me too. And like writing a book, that's on the fucking cards right now. And don't just focus on big, 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 big things, because if it feels far away, then it stays far away. Also focus on the little things that you want to manifest. Like, I want to be able to be home every night at 6 p.m. to cook dinner for my kids. Or I want to, be able to have a bath in the middle of the day, or I want to be able to work from a cafe, or I want to be able to, fly to Paris and take a call from Paris, whatever the situation is. also think of those little things, because when you start to achieve them, that creates momentum, and that momentum creates a different energetic force, which then allows you to propel forward and create those quantum leaps. And those quantum leaps are where you feel like you've collapsed time, right? And all of a sudden you're where you thought you would be in 10 years time, but it's only 6 months have passed. They're those quantum leaps that you want to be achieving, but you need like energetic momentum behind you, and you need to obviously be in the right energetic capacity, and just hitting those little goals and having that little bit of momentum is very, very helpful in achieving those things. So I'm going to leave the episode there because I really have to run and go do my own exciting manifesting thing.